What's going on? It's your main man, Rick Dawn. Hey, so we just watched a awesome episode of Survivor, and I hope you're here to talk about it because that's what we're gonna do. This episode is brought to you by Wordy.com. That is my social media site, and I encourage you to use it. All right, folks. Look, most likely you're watching this after the fact, but I just want to point out the time is 9:54 p.m. That's roughly an hour after the Survivor episode has aired, and you should be here with me right now. You're supposed to be here with me, and we're supposed to talk about this live, rather than you just watching the video after the fact. So let me send you a invitation. Episode 7 will air next week, and I want to just put it on your radar that between 30 minutes and an hour after the episode airs, it would be even better if you tagged along with me. So I want to send an invitation. Episode 7, be there, be there. All right, this episode starts with James. He basically delivers the merge news, but Carla knows something's up. What did you think about the merge tonight? Was it as surprising as you had hoped? Was the little twist something that you did not expect? I want to know how you felt about the merge. Let me know. Jesse calls pre-survivor merge gladiator school. I thought that was a very interesting analogy that Jesse uses. He basically points out that pre-merge is basically training for the real game, and this is one of the first times I've heard the merge be considered the real version of Survivor, whereas everything before that is just training. That's the first for me. I didn't hear that before. Do you think that's true? Do you agree with Jesse? Do you think everything that happens before merge is just gladiator school, just something that prepares you for the actual game? Do you think Survivor actually starts when the merge starts? All right, Janine has always wanted to experience a merge. So in this episode, Janine does talk about wanting to play the game since a young girl and having always wanted to hear Jeff say those words, "Welcome to the merge." What would you do if you were in the game? Is that something you want to hear? Do you want to play the game of Survivor? Look, I'll be honest. I am not prepared to play the game of Survivor. I actually put in my bid to play Big Brother. I don't know if casting is still open, but I did submit a application. I can't play Survivor because of the swimming challenges. I look, I would have to take swimming courses in order to play Survivor. I can swim. I just yeah. Next, let's move along. Cody is conflicted about merge. Noel smells something fishy. So Cody points out, like, hey, I'm happy about the merge, but the game will change. And Noel, like Carla, smells something fishy. She understands that this is not your typical merge. She has seen and viewed the last or the previous seasons of Survivor, so she pretty much knows that Jeff is not going to allow this to be a simple merge. All right, Owen expertly breaks down who has what advantages, but doesn't know about Coco's idol holder, which is Carla. I was very and thoroughly impressed with Owen's knowledge of the game. Did you see what I'm talking about? Did you see that? Um, at some point, Owen says, "Hey, I wish that Survivor the show had some type of message at the bottom which outlined everyone's advantages or idols." And he basically names about 95% of the idol holders in the game. The only one that he misses out on was Carla, because he doesn't know what took place on Coco, all right, or in the Coco tribe. Was that impressive to you or not? Let me just tell you, Owen is my number one pick to win this game, followed very closely by Sammy. And when I saw that from Owen, I immediately thought to myself, yo, this guy is exactly who I think he is. Owen is impressive to me. All right, Elie schemes on new information about Cody's idol. So, look, let's get this out the way. How do you feel about Elie? I stated that Elie was the villain a long time ago, and this episode didn't do her any favors. She is, or I should say, in the game of Survivor, she's pretty vindictive. Look, she starts to scheme, and she's talking about Cody's idol. How did you feel about that? Were you upset about the way that she kind of, you know, tried to plot on Cody? Like Cody, I can imagine is becoming a fan favorite for me, I felt like Cody would have been gone by now. But the fact that he's still in the game and he has an idol and he's not like afraid and he's playing the game pretty tough. How do you feel about that? Do you think that Cody is a legitimate threat to win the game? And how did you feel about Elie this episode? She definitely got the villain edit, and that was hard to ignore. But anyway, Jeff surprises Trimates that they haven't made the merge yet. What did you think about what did they call it? They called it oh, what's going on? What's going on? Somebody up in the house with me. All hell King Gablar. Hey, yeah, Gabler had a heck of a episode. This episode, I can't even argue against you. What do you think about mergatory? Is that a new term? I felt like when Jeff heard that word, that he did exactly, or he had the same feeling I had, which is, oh snap, that's a great word, mergatory. Whoa, okay. So the merge does not happen immediately. Jeff throws a heck of a twist, and he points out that there will be a rock draw, and 6 players will be safe, and then 6 players will go in, and then of course someone would draw the gray rock. So this was an excellent twist. What did you think about the twist? If you could rate it, what would you rate that twist? Did you like the fact that the merge was not easily handed over to the contestants? Or do you think, it's just too many twists at this point? I am very curious to know how you feel about that. What's up, T-Dog in the building? What's going on, yo? So yeah, I am very curious about that, but this was a heck of a twist. Choke, which is an awesome name, by the way. Gabler got his comeback arc. I said he needed it in this episode, and he got it. But he could also be up for the no vote finalist edit if he doesn't turn his ways around. The Ala Gabler is here. Listen, if you join me like Choke and my main man Tim, if you join me, I gotta read your messages. It's the law. It's against the law for you to leave a message and me not read it. So the fact that Choke is pointing that out, I have to read it. Now, Choke, let me just go ahead and say something real quick. I have a lot to say about Gabler. What I'm trying to do is be very disciplined and go sequentially and go through the order in which I saw information occur on the screen. But Gabler, let's just take a few seconds. Can we just give Gabler the slow clap today? What an episode. I am so happy to see this old man who's been ridiculed, disrespected, and undervalued. This man is definitely doing it for me today. All right, but I'm going to be very disciplined here and go sequentially. Elie does terribly in the challenge. Oh man, Elie had a rough episode. If Choke is correct in saying that Gabler had what kind of edit did you say? You said that was a really slick word that you utilized. What was that? You said he had a comeback arc. I like that. He had a comeback arc or a comeback edit. If that's the case, then what about Elie's edit? Elie had the great fall edit. Like Elie did not do well this episode. Anybody who was a fan of Elie had to be just like biting their fingernails, because this edit, and it wasn't even the edit, was it? I mean, this was just Elie's karma. That's what they should have called this episode. It's called Mergatory, but it should have been called Elie's karma. All the things that Elie did that was not, favorable came back to bite her on the tailbone. That's what happened. If you want to just get to you just want to have a conversation about the ending. This was Elie's karma. That's what this was. Okay, but anyway, she does terribly in the challenge, and then she breaks down during the once they start to assimilate, and the 6 winners go on a little feast, and then the 6 losers go to camp. She breaks down, and castmates reassure her like, "Hey, Elie, don't worry, we're not upset with you. You did okay." And let's just point it out. Complete BS. Okay, complete BS. Anyway, James makes crazy move to ask Cody for a conversation. What did you think about James asking to speak with Cody in front of everyone? Look, I don't understand that move. I didn't understand that move, and I want so much. Let me be very clear. I want so much to like James, but some of his gameplay choices, it just, man, I don't know how to say this politely, but it irks my nerves. All right, Elie tells James she's gunning for Cody. Another bad move. What was Elie thinking? Look, this is the perfect scenario in which, or I should say, the perfect example of talking too much sinks your ship. All right, loose lips sink ships. And Elie said way too much this episode. Let me know if you agree. Okay, I know you're not in here with me live at 10:03 p.m. I know you're not here, but you're watching this after the fact, and you can surely go to the comment section and just let me know what did you think about Elie's gameplay overall this episode. I mean, come on. But anyway, the merge feast happens, and let me tell you, this was a masterful feast, and everyone was very happy and cheering and things of that nature. So that was pretty cool to see. But anyway, Ryan makes a really strange decision, and I have to know how you feel about it. Ryan poses the idea of a final seven. Um, this was interesting. This was interesting. Hardichoke says everyone perceived him wrong. Everyone said he was first out or pre-merge. He was my winner pick preseason. I still have faith in him. Wow. So Hardichoke is actually. Oh, this is a first for me. Hardichoke thinks that Gablar will win. Would that be amazing? Can we just point out how amazing that would be if Gablar wins? It's been a very long time since a player over the age of 50 has won the game. So if Gablar was to win, I would actually be happy. Now, my preseason picks, and I'm so glad that Hardichoke said preseason because a lot of people watch the episodes, they get a feel for the players, and then they try to manipulate the game. No, you have to pick your players preseason, and or I should say during the first episode at the latest. All right, my picks are Owen and Sammy. All right, so Hardichoke, if you don't mind, Gabler seems to be your number one. Who's your number two? Because on my show, you get to pick two people. Okay, James, I give him co-MVP. Okay, so maybe you already answered that question. James might be your second player, but Sammy and Owen handled the situations really well. Sammy knew it could easily be turned around on him. Sammy played a pretty decent game. I feel like this could have easily been the episode in which Sammy went home, but he made some very, very critical decisions. And I have to say, I'm very happy with Sammy in the way that he played. Because again, I'm gunning for Owen and Sammy to win the entire season. But I'm not mad at Gabler. I'm not mad at someone who thinks Gabler could do it. I'm not mad at someone who thinks James can do it. So Hardichoke, you know what? I'm gonna be real with you. Great picks. Great picks. Seriously. All right, but anyway, Ryan posed a final seven offer. What did you think about the final seven offer from Ryan? And I'll go first. Ryan has fallen from grace. For a moment, he felt like the great untouchable, and right now, everybody's giving him a bear hug. Okay, he's fallen from grace a great deal, in my opinion, and I think his gameplay is starting to be exposed. I think everyone is starting to see him for what he is. I thought he was an Ozzy type of competitor. He is no Ozzy whatsoever, and I believe that point so much that I'm no longer afraid of him going out first post merge. I thought that he was so good or so gifted in these competitions that he would stand out like a sore thumb when it came to competition. No, not anymore. I feel like Ryan is a liability, and I cannot believe I'm saying that because I was willing to place all my chips on Ryan. But anyway, Carla is able to see cracks in the Bacchus tribe because Gabler did something that some people might say was a bad move. He exposes the cracks in the Bacchus tribe. So I have to ask this question. How did you feel about Gabler spilling the beans at the merge feast? Because you got players like Carla in the game. And one thing I love about Carla, who's arguably one of the best players in the game right now, one thing I absolutely love about Carla is that she is incredibly intelligent, yet no one seems to know about it. I haven't heard anyone say Carla's name. No one's gunning for Carla. And that's because she shows her wits during her diary confessions. She doesn't show it in the game. So I can imagine sitting in the game of Survivor looking at Carla like she's overweight, she's a lesbian, she barely talks. She's not nobody needs to worry about her. She's like the new and improved Sandra. Sandra was masterful when it came to talking to the audience, but in the game itself, it was always like, hey, whatever you want to do. And that particular style of gameplay, I have to say, is very effective, which is why Sandra won twice. But Carla is giving me Sandra vibes, but the new and improved version. Because one thing that sank Sandra's game is her cockiness, but Carla doesn't have that. Carla has the ability to kind of hone it in. So I have to say, I love the way that Carla's playing. In the cast interview, Gabler said, this is by Hardichoke, by the way. Again, if you was here, I'll be reading your comment. Anyway, in the cast interview, Gabler said he wanted to be that good friend and stab you in the front. I think he was referencing the social game because you need the social game to win the new era. Listen, Gabler is the new and improved older player. Okay, he understands. He has data at his fingertips. He's seen the outcome of older players in this game. And when you have data, one of the smartest things you can do is not follow a negative trend. So he realizes what happens if he plays the game status quo. And he's done everything, in my personal opinion, to show that he's a real competitor, which I'm very, very happy to hear about. I like Gabler. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not an anti-Gabler kind of guy. I like Gabler's gameplay. I like the fact that he's quirky. I like the fact that he's old school and he takes things personal and he spills the beans. I like everything about Gabler. Anyway, Gabler calls out Elie in front of everyone. Janine is blown away. I was very upset about this particular aspect of this show. Janine seems so upset about the fact that Gabler pointed out to the rest of the tribe that Elie went through his bag. Look, there's a lot of controversy here. Are you team Gabler? Are you team Elie? How do you feel about this situation? I look, there's a lot to digest here. First off, Elie was not the one who went through the bag, but let's cut the BS. Let's cut the bull right in half. Elie went through the bag. Okay. Elie and Janine are one in my opinion. So if one did it, the other one did it. Janine is the hands, Elie was the brain. Elie told her to do it. Elie did it. Period. I don't want to hear about. So Elie can't run that on me. I understand to save herself in the game, but long story short, it was Elie who went through the bag. I don't think that Janine does that on her own. I think it was Ellie's manipulation because Elie was a master manipulator. Call me crazy. Okay, call me crazy, but I believe that. Elie exposes everyone's vote. Janine tells Elie tells Janine about what am I talking about here? Elie exposes everyone's vote. Janine tells what Janine tells Janine about Ellie's back search. Oh wait, something happened. I think I wrote down the wrong name, so I don't have any clue. But anyway, I wanted to point out the fact that Elie, um, at the new camp, at one point is sitting down and she's exposing everyone's vote. I said to myself, this woman is playing very, very hard, and this is either going to work in her favor, or this is going to be a travesty. She's playing extremely hard. She's giving out everyone's votes, everyone's information, and yeah, yeah, that happened. Elie confronts Gabler, and Gabler doesn't budge. So eventually, Janine comes back to the camp after the merge feast, and she tells Elie, "Hey, Gabler tried to blow up your game. Gabler tried to expose you. What do you think about that? Do you think that Janine made the right move? Do you think she's being too loyal?" But anyway, Janine comes back and tells Elie, and this makes Elie go crazy. Now, Elie is one of those players who has to be in charge. That has to be something that she has to reflect upon. That was her detriment in the game. Not being able to fall back and allow the game to play without her. See, the issue with a lot of these players, they feel like they have to be in control every moment of the game, which is why I like a Owen. Owen knows how to fall back and allow the game to happen without him being there. There's so many bigger threats that will go out before Owen because Owen has mastered the basic concept of not being in first place. You don't have to be in first place to win this game of Survivor. You need to be about third or fourth place. That's where Carla is. Carla is playing such a good game that when Owen lays out who has all the idols, he knows everyone's idols with the exception of Carla. That's because Carla is playing somewhere in the middle of the crowd and she'll sprout out when the time is correct. I can say the exact same thing about Jesse. Look, I love it. My main man Tim says, just popping in from the other side of me. I did watch another 5 minutes today. Wife didn't have it again. She said, I can't watch TV elsewhere. I said, I'm changing it. Look, I just want to point out something. My main man Tim is one of my favorite people. He always comes through and supports my channel just because he understands how hard this YouTube thing is. But Tim used to watch Big Brother with me, and now that Survivor is on, Tim is having a hard time getting into the game, and Wifey is not making it any easier because the game is so boring. Look, we had so much fun on Big Brother, but let's call a spade a spade. Survivor is a slow burn, and you just really gotta have patience to watch the show. And I appreciate Tim. Tim is doing he's watching 5 minutes more every episode. Like I think right now we're like 15 minutes or so. And I'm pushing 15, maybe like 7 minutes. But the point is, Tim incrementally continues to watch Survivor, and it just makes me happy every time I hear it. So thank you, T. I appreciate you, bro. I love you, bro, for real. All right, but anyway, Gablar told Elie that he heard the info from Owen and Sammy. So this created a crazy firestorm. Once Janine comes back, Elie goes and just pounces on Gablar like, "Who told you what I said? You're lying. I didn't go through your bag." And what a manipulator Elie is, right? What a big manipulator. But anyway, Gablar doesn't budge. I'm so happy to see that from him. He didn't allow Elie to push him around. And Gablar points out that, hey, Owen and Sammy told me that you went through my bag. So then Elie confronts those two, and they're like, hey, just calm down and relax. Look, how many people thought the exact same thing I did? This was Elie looking like Lindsay. All right, that's the only thing I kept thinking as I was watching this. Elie was coming across like another version of Lindsay. Okay, but anyway, Gablar told Elie that he heard the information from Owen and Sammy. Sammy wants Elie gone immediately. Sammy tries to keep Gablar cool. So Sammy was playing damage control. Once Elie confronts Sammy and Gablar confronts Sammy, Sammy's like, listen, Gablar, relax, my bro, relax. He's just basically trying to keep the fire from exploding so big that he gets engulfed. Sammy, I don't think he wins on the account that he's kind of like what is that? What do they call it? He's like I forget the name of that term, but he's very rough around the edges. It's like sandpaper. Like Sammy is not like Owen. Owen is very smooth. He lays low, but Sammy is very abrasive. But at the same time, he's smart enough to win this game on the account that he basically tells Gablar, cool it down, bro. Everyone wants Elie out. And listen, Gablar apparently was paying attention when he said that. James smells something fishy with Elie. I was so happy to see that James was able to see that Elie was all BS. All right, because Elie at some point in this episode tries to talk to James and tries to coerce him into voting her way and doing what she wants him to do. But what I was so happy to see was James just using a little common sense and saying, wait a minute, this chick doesn't have an honest bone in her body. So that was pretty awesome to see from James. But anyway, Jesse picks Elie's game apart. Jesse did something I was so happy to see. He was able to hear Elie kind of give her pitch to him and immediately was able to dissect everything that she was able to do, which is why I keep saying Jesse and Carla are like two. I love both of the gameplays. I'm not sure that Jesse wins. I'm not sure. I think Carl has a good chance. I'm not sure that Jesse wins. But one thing I can say for sure, whether Jesse wins or not, he played a really solid game. And he showed how brilliant he is. The way that he's able to pick apart Elie's whole entire strategy was very masterful-like. Anyway, tribal conversations were very messy. Can we talk about that tribal council? What did you think about it? It was all over the place. It was very, very messy. And even when we get to the votes, how many people got votes tonight? 4 people got votes. This was in terms of tribal council, it was pretty bad. One of the worst that I can remember, right? But anyway, Ryan spills the beans on what Elie wants. And again, Ryan is showing the inability to hold water, hold a secret. Every time Ryan gets the mic in front of his face, he says something that's just like, Ryan, like, do you not understand that this game is more than physicality? You have to have a little bit of strategic muscle. Like, he just doesn't have it. But he spills the beans on what Elie wants, and I'm just like, typical. It doesn't surprise me. But anyway, Janine pitches James to Gablar, but Gablar isn't buying. What about Janine? What is Janine doing? It's like, Janine is intelligent. I mean, when I say intelligent, she says a few things in this episode where I say, whoa. That's she. In fact, I believe she coins the term mergatory. Like, Janine is out of this world in terms of intelligence. But I couldn't understand her gunning for James. That didn't make any sense to me. The woman is crazy to me. Elie freaks out because she doesn't have the power. This was amazing if you're someone who doesn't appreciate the game that Elie plays. For the very first time, we saw Elie scrambling. Look, I'm not a Elie hater, but I am disappointed. You ever heard that particular sentiment from your parents? I'm not angry. I don't hate you. I'm just disappointed. That's how I feel about Elie. I don't hate Elie, but I'm disappointed in the way that she chose to play the game. It's like, why do you have to be so mean? That's how I perceive Elie's gameplay. So it was very vindicating watching Elie play this episode, because for the first time she didn't feel in control. For the first time she felt like she was outnumbered, and I'm so happy she did not make it to the merge. You know why? I'll be honest with you. Call me crazy on this. Say I'm wrong about this, but I'm not happy with the way that she called out Mariah, even though Mariah sucked. Okay, Mariah sucked. She was terrible. I know that. But I didn't like the way that she just like, hey, Mariah, she just offered Mariah on a plate. You can't, Elie cannot say, oh, Mariah was weak when you're siding with Janine. Like, Janine is weak in my opinion. I'm talking about in physicality, in that particular realm. Janine didn't do any. Can you name anything Janine's done in a competition? I'll wait. All right, Janine is very smart, very very masterful in terms of craftiness. But when it comes to competitions, which is what Elie seemed to be upset about when it came to Mariah, they're the same player. In fact, I would argue that Mariah is better than Janine as far as competitions. So I just didn't like that part. But that's just my own bias. That's my bias, and I admit that. Gablar admits to not being able to sit down. So when we get to the tribal council, Jeff does ask Gablar, and Gablar is old school. He doesn't pull punches. He doesn't hide how he feels, which is why I really, really appreciate Gablar's gameplay. He's very old school, and he tells Jeff straight up, like, "Look, I thought after the feast I would be able to go to the tribal council. Go to the camp and do some resting. Are you serious, Gablar? Are you serious?" Now we know Gablar has been resting on the beach all season. We've seen him about to pass out in week 2. But certainly he doesn't understand that, hey, this is a real game and it's always moving. And he admits to Jeff that he was not able to sit down. I thought that was funny. Sammy talks about being afraid. Come on now. Sammy afraid? I'm not buying that. Dr. Juwan, what's up? That tribal was entertaining. I have to agree with you, Dr. Juwan. All my friends are popping in, saying something and leaving. And I totally understand. It's like 10:30 almost. So, Dr. Juwan, hey, Dr. Juwan, let me know what you think about tonight's episode. Are you happy about who went home? Do you have anything you would like me to tell the viewers who are watching this video after the fact, like tomorrow, 2 days from now? Do you want me to tell them anything on your behalf? If so, drop it in the comment section. But anyway, Sammy talks about being afraid, which is very surprising given that Sammy is such a dominant player. He's very abrasive, and he's a man's man, in my personal opinion. Anyway, Janine states that it's important to see the game from other or everyone else's point of view. This was probably one of the most important things that happened in this episode outside of the coining of the word mergatory. That was amazingly coined. But Janine points out something very craftful, or masterful rather. And when she says it, Jeff you can see Jeff's hairs stand up on his arm. And Janine points out that in this game, it's not about what you see or how you see the game. It's about looking at the game from everybody else's point of view. And when she said that, even though I know that, it was so well spoken, and it made me realize that Janine is a heck of a player. She could be very, very dangerous. And the fact that she's not a physical threat could throw everyone off and allow her to get further than they should allow her to get. Okay, but she has to know, Janine has to know that her safety net, which is Elie, is absolutely gone. Dr. Juwan says, I'm happy with who went home. Come on now. Who's not happy, Dr. Juwan? And then also, no, I don't got anything for you to say on my behalf. You summarized everything I was going to say perfectly. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm in college now, so I'm really busy, but I'll stop by and drop a 1 point. Hey, go get that education. I got my bachelor's, my master's. I know the grind. It's a lot of work. So I'm so happy that you're knocking out, you're taking care of business. So don't let me keep you up too late. Okay, I'm a little late myself. All right, but anyway, James voices. Oh yeah, so James at some point starts to talk about things from his point of view at the tribal council or the tribal fire, whatever it's called. And I don't know, like when you watch this episode, I want you to pay particular attention to James' voice. Like he has this weird, like at tribal council, he's talking in this very weird tone. It's almost like he's talking through a fan. And it was just like weird. I noticed that. But anyway, Janine is incredibly insightful when talking about gut reactions. This is a second major point by Janine in which she's talking about just having to go with your gut reaction. And every time she speaks, she drops absolute gems. I want you to pay attention to Janine's conversations and the things she says to Tribal during this episode, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Every time Janine opens her mouth, she drops gems. And I'm hoping that other players are paying attention because every time she talked tonight, Jeff's he stood at attention. He realized like, "Whoa, that's something different." Okay, and she has a great way of taking very complex concepts and breaking them down in a very, very minimum way. You know, like I think it was Einstein who said, if you can't break down complex things in a way that a 3-year-old would understand it, then you really don't understand it yourself. And that's what Janine does very masterfully. All right. Yeah. Look, I have to admit that. Now, Dr. Jawan, let me just go ahead and put it out there. Full disclaimer. Dr. Jawan, I'm supposed to say this. Dr. Jawan is the one who told me about 2 weeks ago that Janine was very, very smart and that she could actually win this game. I admit that. I admit that. I did not agree at the time, but I have to admit it now. Dr. Jawan said, if you look at in the comment section in the chat area, you'll see Dr. Jawan bragging because she told me this some time ago. Dr. Jawan said that Janine was very, very intelligent and could be the person who win the game. I know that. I didn't say it at the time, but I'm saying it now. So anyway, Dr. Jawan says, I told you Janine was a sneaky smart player at the start of the season. Yes, you did. Okay, I just admitted it to everybody. All right. Now, let's see here. Somebody played. Oh, somebody. Wait. Okay. Play. No one plays the advantage, and this was very surprising to me. Once Jeff says, "Does anybody want to play an advantage?" Nobody plays one. Now, help me out with this. I thought that Gablar. This was Gablar's last night to play his idol. Is that true or false? Help me out with that because I was not exactly sure. I thought that tonight was the last time that Gablar could play the immunity idol, but he doesn't. And I'm like, why not just play it to be safe? Why not, But call me crazy. Maybe it was just my oversight. Maybe he still has the idol and is still playable. But I thought that tonight was the last opportunity for Gabler to do so. All right, 4 people got votes tonight. What was that about? I mean, how did you feel about 4 players getting votes? I forget exactly who those 4 players were, but I believe it was James, it was Elie, and 2. I want to say Cody and one other player, but don't hold me to those last 2. But what did you think about tonight? It showed me that there's no cohesion amongst this bunch just yet, and it shows me also that this is going to be a very, very messy season. How do you feel the season is going? I'll be honest with you, it's been a very, very slow burn, especially after watching the fast-paced gameplay of Big Brother. This has been a very slow burn, but something tells me in about 2 episodes, this will be even better than Big Brother. And that's why I'm holding in. I'm staying strong because I know how Survivor works. It's very slow, but when it gets fast and when it picks up, it gets really good. So I'm holding out. 4 players got votes tonight, and I think that's going to definitely mean something moving forward. Elie gets voted out tonight. Listen, I have to ask, how do you feel about that? Are you upset about that? Elie goes home. And can we talk about the shade? Can we talk about the disrespect Elie shows Gablar on her way out? As she's getting her torch snuffed out by Jeff, she says, "This is what happens when you trust Gablar." And I just thought that was the most unself-aware thing that Elie could have possibly said. So, and this I want to make a point real quick. If you don't mind, let me just rant. I've grown to learn that people do not take responsibility for their own actions. I've grown to learn that people never see their own wrongs as wrong. And this episode proves that point to me. Elie says, this is what happens when you trust Gablar as she's getting her torch snuffed out. But wait a minute, Elie, you went through the man's bag. Oh, wait, you didn't do it, but you told somebody else to do it. So is Gablar supposed to like you? See, this is the problem I have with people in general. People do nasty things to other people, and then when it's their turn to get the nastiness done to them, it's everyone else's fault. I don't like this about human psychology. It drives me insane. I thought that the comment about Gabler was certainly out of place when you consider the fact that she went through the man's bag. If Gabler had went through Elie's bag, Gabler would have been the scum of the earth. But no, it's okay because it was Elie. And oh wait, it was even more so okay because Elie didn't really do it. It was Janine that did it. Come on, man. This is the kind of stuff that I be talking about, and this is why I'm not sad to see Elie go home. Good riddance. All right. Anyway, Gablar Idols is indeed not playable anymore. Exactly. That's what I thought, Dr. Juwan. So I was very confused about that. Why didn't Gablar just play it? that was complete cockiness. But I would argue that Gabler just has no clue what he's doing. Okay, that's what I would argue. He's playing like Mr. Magoo, just walking around with a cane, doesn't know how to play, and accidentally making great moves. Okay, I just think he's making great moves by mistake. Okay, that's my opinion. But that's all that I have in terms of a recap. I'm so happy that you joined me for this one, and you missed out. Dr. Juwan, I want to say thank you. My main man Tim, thank you. Heartachoke, thank you. Heartachoke, you new to the club, but I appreciate you anyway. You could have been here too. All right, we talked about Survivor right after the episode aired. And next Thursday, episode 7, I want to see you here. I keep seeing my views go up after I air live, and that's cool and all. I really appreciate that. Thank you to the 50 people who watch. Fine, but it would be even better if all 50 of you are watching this episode with me. So be here, be here. All right, next week the episode goes off at 9. I would probably get on by like 9:40. So be here so we can kick it. Dr. Juwan, I'll be there next Wednesday. Come on, Dr. Juwan, you always with me. Come on now. Without you, what would I be talking about? Okay, but Dr. Juwan got some work to do. I got some sleep to have, and I'm gonna end this episode. But I will say, good riddance to Elie. Woosah. All right. Thank you all, and I'll see you next week. Stay safe, y'all. Peace.